Hey Beth, how's it going? This is Landon. I'm going to be doing a review of your critique here and your report for your poster. So I read through your analysis and it was really good, really well thought out. Um, I laughed quite a bit at it, some of the pieces too. Not being mean, just because some of it was funny, and I think that was intended to be like that. So I'm just going to go through the rubric and look at your poster while I'm doing it and make my comments. Alright, so to what extent does the eye hone in on one spot? So the focal point for your poster is definitely the photo. It does a really good job of standing out over this solid colored background. The text isn't really interfering at all with the photo, and overall it's just a really good design and it does its job well. Looks awesome. I like this font a lot. And let's see, color contrast. You mentioned how you tried different color choices for the font down here, and I think black works pretty well. It's real easy to read, stands out while also blending in with the background. I don't think that there's really any better choice for that, so that was a good job. Even the superstition review up here, the white, stands out really nice over the photo, and it's nicely placed, as you said, under the cloud, and it's a really cool font. Color aesthetic, to what extent do the colors complement and contrast each other? So you'd mentioned that the tone here is an earthy tone taken from the photo and to kind of pull from the photo itself and the content there. Good choice. It allows you to use both white and black on top of it without either of them getting lost, so that's good. Type and contrast hierarchy. So you use the highly stylized font up here, which is still legible, and it's part of the focal point. And then down here, you have an obvious hierarchy with the text getting a bit smaller as it goes down, and it's also evidenced by the bars here. Sorry, I think my music's too loud. And the bars here, they start thick and then they get smaller and smaller. So that kind of helps you read down the page, which is a good idea. And type aesthetic. To what extent are the type styles used reflective of the purpose and particular design? And you'd mentioned about the type choices that you wanted a serif for the bottom and display typeface for the top. I think that they work pretty well together. This is a real, stylistic font. It stands out, and this is a real kind of neutral, as you mentioned, curvy font that is easy to read. I mean, the one thing I might say is that it could be a little bit more bold. It does seem a little light, but I mean, you could still easily read issue 14 from a far distance, and when you get closer, you can read all the other information. So legibility is definitely not an issue at all. Images, to what extent do the style, content, and framing of the included images elements reflect the purpose of the poster? So you went into a lot of detail about the photo that you had chosen and why it was a good fit, and I totally agree. You had really good points about it. It's a beautiful photo, and I think it works really well for this. So that's spot on. Grid rule thirds. Let's see. The spacing looks pretty proportional for all your text. Let's see. Yeah, so the groups, and I think this is another topic, but we can cover that one too. The groups are pretty equal spaced, kind of proportionally. So yeah, it looks like every one is spaced specific to its own bar, which is really cool. Well thought out, obviously. So that's good. No issues there. I think, let's see. Yeah, the spacing here isn't the same, but that's good because usually when you center something on a page, it'll have a tendency to look low, so you want to move it up. Like if you have just a blank page and you, let's see, circle, come on. and you kind of put it directly in the center of a page, it'll kind of look off center, and usually you'll have to move it kind of up a little bit to make it feel centered. Like if you look at it there, it kind of looks like it's too low, right? And then if you move it up just a little bit, it almost looks centered there, like visually centered, not computer centered. So I think that's maybe what you're trying to go for here, and it worked out perfectly. So that's, you know, also really good. And balance. What extent is it symmetrical and asymmetrical? That kind of goes into what I was just talking about with centering this, you know, visually centering it as opposed to letting the computer tell you when it's centered. So that's really well thought out, really nice. You know, this is lowered in the frame, but that's to, you know, counteract kind of the white clouds up here, and as you mentioned, to kind of be a base and assert like authority, I think is what you had mentioned. Proximity and grouping, we went through that. Repetition, what extent is a repetition of elements? The white bar is repeated, and it's it also scales and gets smaller, and that's another interesting cue for your eye to kind of read. It's, you know, why is it getting smaller and the text getting smaller? It makes you go from top to bottom. Also the typeface is used, and also the crap, I forget what that's called. The vertical type character, the bar, is used in a few different places, and it even lines up here, which is pretty cool. Alignment. So it's not really, well, it probably is center aligned, but it's has tracking applied to it so that they all take up the horizontal space completely. It's kind of justified characters. So that's good, and it also follows the theme of this text up here being centered. And the whole design is really real central. It just takes you right down the middle. Let's see. White space and spacing. So you already went over the spacing here. It's even in each little group. It's even. And the negative space around the outside, really sophisticated. You know, it's not cramming the most text you can into the littlest space and not leaving any extra space out. You have a lot of white space and letting the text really speak, and, you know, not be cramped or cramped into one space. Integration and cohesion of elements. I mean, this color is taken, you know, from this photo, so I think that's really well thought out. That's awesome. The photo works really well. It's the Superstition Mountains, and you explained as to the kind of subtext to why this photo works well. What extent the information included? So we have issue 14, which is, you know, hierarchy. In the hierarchy, it's the most important, and it's the launch party for issue 14, and that's the date. It's at the Mesa Art Center, Dobson Lecture Hall, 1 East Main Street, Mesa, from 6 to 8 p.m. Free access to museum complimentary refreshments, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and Tumblr. I mean, that's laid out really well, and it's consistently laid out, and the information that you want first is where you would expect to see it, and the information that you don't care about, you know, like who uses Google+? Nobody, so that's pretty much down there, and that's good. As far as your analysis, it was really well done. I was going to go through and highlight some of the pieces, but I didn't really have time to do that, but I just remember seeing a lot of really good points in there. Everything was spelled out, laid out, like the picture choice, the color choice, the font choice. Awesome job on that. Excuse me. You do account for all the design elements and content choices. You talked about how you were trying to appeal to a teacher, an English teacher who has an art background, but you kept thinking that about different personas while you were doing it. And, you know, looking at this, I can see how it would relate to an English teacher. You know, I mean, it's good verbiage. It's the launch, you know, instead of saying like launch party or, I don't know, something else. That works really well at explaining what the event is, and also being interesting verbiage, you know? So I could see how an English teacher would like that, but this would also appeal to a lot of other people, like the photographers who do landscapes. They would look at this photo, which is the focal point, and they'd be like, wow, that's awesome. And, you know, people who appreciate good design would like this typography choice and the style that you've done here. So I think you nailed it on that one too. Does the memo read well? Is it free? Yeah, the memo reads well. It's lengthy, 2 pages like required, and I didn't see any errors or anything, so good job there too. As far as the whole poster, just in general, I think it's good. I see how it appeals to your persona, and it's a good job. Other than that, I really don't have any other input for you. I'm going to go ahead and try a version based off yours, just to, I don't know, so you can kind of see what my mindset would be for this and appealing to that persona, and just maybe to help you out in any way if there's any other additional thing you can get from it. Okay, so you went with 8.5 by 11, which is what the criteria said, so I just had the same setup down here. I was trying to find the same photo you used. I couldn't find it, so I think I just Googled Superstition Mountains or something. Let's see. Here. Nope, that's not it. I had it somewhere. Where is it? That's the only question. These are some possible social media that we can use later. Just gotta find that photo. Well, I think I just... God, I know. Wait. No, I already looked at that one. It's not it. Remember which one it was because it had a lightning bolt in the background. Oh, I think... Nope. There we go. This one's a little bit too small though, so we gotta get a bigger one, and thankfully Google was able to find one. I swear I'm gonna like finish this video and then find like some random tab somewhere that has this image in it, and I'm just gonna hate myself. Alright. So you'd mentioned the color and stuff in yours and why it was a good fit, but I made a little color scheme here just from some of the pictures, some of the hues from your photo. I'm going to try to incorporate that, but I wanted to try to make this photo black and white and see how that would do, but I mean, who knows, we're just going to try it. I haven't tried this before, so we're just going to make this thing black and white and see what happens. I'm kind of expecting it to be less of a focal point, but still catch your eye. We'll see. This just has a lot of different colors in it, so I didn't want the colors to, you know, get too crazy and distract from it. Cool. Looks pretty moody, sophisticated. I think a teacher might like that. Now, instead of putting the text right on top of that, I'm actually going to try to keep all the text under here. I want to have 2 focal points. I want to see if I can make, and that's kind of also the reasoning behind the black and white of the photo. So I want the text and the photo to kind of be, you look right in between both of them, and that's what you're drawn to. So we'll see if that's even possible or if that's even a thing. So I'm going to use a font called Accidens Grotesque, which is ASU's font. That's the font that they want their designers to use for everything. And I've had to use that font quite a few times. It's Helvetica is actually based off of it, so it's actually a real neutral font, but it does have a little bit more style to it. I'm going to kind of use some of the brackets that are really high size. Let's see, like 130. Cool. Accidents. Let's try regular. Cool, okay. I just have 3 columns set up. We'll probably end up using 1 column, kind of like yours did. Just kind of put these all the way to the margins. And let's have let's make this like 40. Let's make it super. No, let's do bold. Cool. And make it all lowercase because that's cool nowadays, I guess. Letting pretty small, so it's pretty close. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, pretty bold font and cool photography. I can't really tell at this point which one I'm drawn to more. But maybe if we put something right in between the 2 of them, then that'll help. But first, let's superstition review. Let's do like 14. What text do you use again? The launch. Let's just put the launch in there. I feel like it's a lot easier to work with a whole bunch of content than it is to work with like no content. So whenever I have like some just random words I could put in there that I can pawn off as being intended for the whole time, then I feel like it's just a good idea to put more text in there whenever you can. It's kind of small. Let's get this a little bit closer. Ooh, not that close. And let's make it like regular. Put some letting in there. And what's the date for this thing? 12/5/14. And I'll make it back to small size. And maybe make this font bold. It doesn't really line up with the R under view either. It does the launch kind of lines up with superstition, but the curve in the S kind of throws it off. So like put it out there a little bit more. Let's put a baseline grid on here. Alright, let's try to get some of this to line up. And let's make it 10. Because this is 8.5 by 11, but if it's a poster, they'll probably blow it up to actually print it. I wonder if that would be too close. Yeah, it's way too close. The 12 actually works well, but you can kind of just evenly space this out here. Space here. I don't know if that's like the right way to do it, but it's the way I do it. It's not really, it's not aligned on a grid, but at least the space is even. Cool. I think that was pretty classy. I mean, the space between here looks a little bit bigger than that, but whatever. For the sake of time, we'll just leave it for now. Okay, so now we want to put all this information in. I'm just going to kind of copy it all. If I could spell right, that'd be cool. Maybe I'll use these things still. And something I didn't mention before, but I used all caps, and that's another good way of unifying it. But I'm just gonna use not all caps, but I'm gonna go with their idea for separating them all with the divider. And if you could put numbers, like if you have numbers inside of body text, like you see here, it numbers draw the eye, especially when they're set within like a bunch of other text. So like, I don't know, you can see like the 12 and the 6, like they kind of catch your eye. So, I mean, writing out addresses is absolutely fine, but I'm going to have all the text kind of in the same paragraph. So I'm just going to kind of substitute numbers wherever I can to, you know, make it more interesting and draw your eye. Street, Mesa, Arizona, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I can't spell night. I think I butchered that word, whatever. Refreshments. And I think the social media will just be separate. And okay. Oops. Okay. Why it is doing that, I have no clue. What's going on here? That was really strange. Alright. I'm going to kind of center... Yeah, texture lineup of text, so we're just going to center it right here. Well, let's see how much... What's the spacing between here? Yeah, it's not exactly whatever. And I don't want hyphenation on. Alright, so this letting is pretty crazy. Okay, let's make it all just regular. And let's try the dividers being bold. Maybe even super. I'm thinking you could even stylize these like separate to make them stand out. You could be like all caps, and Mesa could be bold. You know, they're reading it and they're like, Superstition Review, where's that at? No, Mesa. Maybe even Arizona isn't necessarily like, you didn't have it, I just added it in, but just that. Okay, it's in Mesa. It's at the Mesa Art Center. And people like free stuff, so complimentary refreshments. Let's put this in light. That looks pretty sweet, okay. Light and light. Kind of random, but I mean, you have a reason for it. It is, you know, Mesa Art Center and Mesa Art Center, Mesa, and complimentary refreshments. You know, maybe Mesa's not even, doesn't need to be bold, rather. Mesa Art Center, complimentary refreshments. And I changed my mind about these. Let's make them regular. Okay, cool. That's pretty monotone. There's no color in there. So much for using a color scheme, but actually here, let's see. Let's go ahead. So we haven't issued, you know, launch superstition review launch of what? So let's go ahead and do something that signifies issue 14 launch. What color would work? I don't want to. That's pretty sophisticated. I think a teacher would think that was elegant, you know. But let's go ahead and move this down to the next. Cool. And centered. Let's see if we need to move it up. Feels too round. That feels too messed up. Just a tiny bit, but not enough to make you actually go OCD about it. Okay. Let's put 14 in there. And we've used accidents for everything, so let's use something else. What's that font called? Bickham. Yeah, Bickham. It's a script, and it's really stylized, so that'll contrast the plain, almost Helvetica-like accidents really well. Let's make it. Should we make it a different color? Should we make it white? Let's try it. No, I don't like the blue already, but what about? No, it's gonna be white. Okay, that's pretty classy. So, yeah, it says it's centered, but I'm not buying it. And then under that, let's throw issue in under that. Where's issue? Let's make it like 15 or something. Oops. 15, just so it doesn't go completely. Dang it. 18. Alright, bigger. Actually, since it's a script, see how they're not meeting up, you want to leave the kerning to metrics instead of optical. Any other font besides script, you want to make your leading optical. You want to make your leading optical. Just, you know, it makes the spacing between them kind of proportional, and according to your eye, it makes it optically kern instead of what the computer says, because the computer's always wrong. So that's pretty good. I mean, I was thinking this could be like accidents, but we'll see. Accidents, bold. baseline right there. Maybe the 14 can kind of line up on the stem or whatever that's called. 4. Don't like it. Don't like that lining up either. That looks good. Cool. I mean, so it's pretty sophisticated. I mean, I don't know if a teacher would be kind of drawn to it now that I look at it, but definitely, I think your eye's kind of drawn here to the color, and then maybe down to here. If you made the photo just like more darker, then maybe that would do it. More contrast in the photo, except then all the noise comes out and that just looks like crap. But we scaled down a little bit, so let's see. Really dark, moody photo now. Alright, so here's the old photo. Here's the new photo. It's too dark, I think, but now, I mean, now you're kind of drawn equally between these guys because that's really dark. But I still like it that way better. I'll just hide that one. Cool, yeah, so I mean, pretty simple, elegant. You can make this font different, pretty easy to change, but I mean, I see the similarities between the two, and I don't know, maybe this helped give you some ideas. I mean, this is awesome. You don't really need to change anything, but yeah, this is my interpretation of it, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good weekend.